Good morning. It's Sunday, June the 7th, and it's around 11 o'clock. I set off from Boston around about an hour ago, and I'm walking today to Skegness, and I'll be able to see the sea again, which I'm rather looking forward to. I'm going to keep the actual footage of the walk a bit of a minimum, really, simply because when I get to Skegness there'll be plenty to see, and I don't want to overdo it in terms of the amount of minutes of the film that I put on, because it took me a long time to edit yesterday and the day before, which I posted probably about an hour ago onto YouTube and Facebook, and that was 47 minutes, which took in 2 days. And so I'm sure you've seen enough of me walking along the road. The only reason I put that on really is just to fill out a little time at times, because there's not a great deal else to see apart from cabbages in fields and all that kind of stuff. But seriously, these rural country walks in a place like Lincolnshire, which is like part of the Fens, which is like the food basket of the UK, very agricultural, and lots of lovely sort of vegetables and crops to see, and the odd horse and cattle and all that kind of thing, but not much else apart from perhaps pubs. So I'll save quite a chunk of footage for when I actually get to Skegness. I think you might find that far more interesting. It was a hard walk yesterday. It was just, the logistics beat me. The fact that you couldn't get a bus from Hull Beach to Boston, and I had to go on to Spalding to get a bus from there. That was easy, that was the easy part. But all the running about in the morning, plus the fact all the rain and everything that I had to contend with, and it was a long day. It started at like 5:30 yesterday morning, it finished at about 6:30 last night, and I was tired. I did a little bit of editing, but I fell into the same trap again, because you're so tired. The first thing you do when you're editing and you feel that tiredness coming on, you've got to stop, because it just makes you feel almost ill, and you can't concentrate and you make mistakes. And so the best thing to do is go to bed. But as I've said before, what that means is you're up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and so what else are you going to do then? All you've got to do is edit or look at Facebook or read or something, but it's rather a long time to pass. And Saturday night in Boston, you've never heard anything like it. The youngsters, you know, okay, so I was young once, walking down the street in packs and making as much noise as they possibly could. And funnily enough, when I got up this morning at about 4:30, there were two things I needed. I needed a toilet, first of all, and I needed a cup of tea. So I went round the corner to McDonald's, and I've never been to a McDonald's which has actually got bouncers near the counter and bouncers at the door letting people in. I mean, I didn't have any problem. But it seemed really curious to me that they've got high risk security. There must have been about 50 20, 21, 22-year-olds in there. They were very orderly. There was no noise, nothing like that. And I think they're all a little bit monged. Maybe they'd been out clubbing last night and had one or two substances that made them feel that way. And a cup of coffee always seems to be a good idea, but it seems really strange for them to be drinking coffee at 5:30 in the morning. I'd never do that. So I went back to the van and got editing and everything, and I'm quite pleased with the film from yesterday. And as you'll see, it was a long, hard walk. So I don't think there's anything else to tell you, actually. I had a phone call last night from a very good friend who's we're gonna meet up somewhere on the Lincolnshire coast. I don't know when. So there's nothing else to say. So here we go.
Right, and that's our first demo over, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much.
With lance, sword or battle axe, and wore heavy armour to protect them. The great strength of Wales, or in some regions, bracket, cultivating animals in winter. A beautiful example is on display today, a Volkswagen, named by its boat-shaped design. Horses were also used for more unusual tasks. In 1713, a team of horses dragged an immense boulder from a nearby farm to Suffolk, where on the farm many became angry and protested, but there was little they could do to stop their horses being requisitioned from them.
It's 2:20 now and it's clouded over quite a lot. I don't know whether it's going to rain or not. It just looks a bit sort of thick, the cloud, and it more or less tells you what's coming up in a day or two. It seems to be the pattern really, where every day this week, well, say every day this week from now on, it's going to be okay to walk first thing in the morning until about midday, maybe 2 o'clock, and then it's going to chuck it down. And that seems to be the pattern for the week, but I do sympathise with these weather forecasters. I know they all sort of get all their information from the same satellites and all that kind of stuff, but it must be very difficult to make any real predictions at this time of year. I called in at the Wrangle show just to give everybody a look at what these Lincolnshire country shows are like. I'm quite sure that many English people will have been to something similar in the past, but it'd be nice to let some of my overseas viewers have a look at a typical English country fair. It seems to be quite a big event, but there's hardly any seats anywhere unless you wanted to sit on upside down crates around the sort of enclosures, and they were all full. So I bought a cup of tea. I did go and actually try and buy a cup of tea and it said 40p, but when it came to paying for it she said it's 70p, and she started arguing with me. I said it says 40p there. She says no it doesn't. I said yes it does. No it doesn't. So I said look, give me my money back and I'll go somewhere else, and so I went and got one somewhere else. But she's been charging people 70p all day when it really should have been 40. Good job the they won't get any letters of complaint. Obviously, alright, so you might say they're all volunteers, but ripping people off is another thing, isn't it? So I'm about over halfway now to Skegness. Must admit, I'm flagging a bit. I chose to come on the road, the A52, because it does have a course, it does have a path alongside most of the way. There's plenty of places to stop for tea, water, that kind of stuff. There is a route that takes you more or less along the coast and along the sort of embankments, you know, the sea defences. But having walked that kind of thing before, they're dead straight for mile after mile after mile after mile. You get the wind out there, you're very exposed to the sun and the wind and everything, and I just didn't fancy it. Plus the fact that I calculated it as being something like about 23 miles. Well, that's out of the question. There's nowhere to stop here in a situation like that, so I chose to come on the road. It makes it easier, and also if in any event I don't feel as if I can make it, I can always get a bus back to Boston. But I'm doing okay. I'm not doing that much video work because I did a lot of video work yesterday and the day before, and I ended up chucking half of it away because I didn't think it was sort of relevant. But then again, when you're making a film like this, how much do you actually video is the question, and how much do you know you're going to chuck away? You've got no idea. In other words, supposing I was to do a video that I wanted to last half an hour, I would need to take around about 140 clips. That's sort of 10 to 15 seconds. And in the event of rain, where I had to cancel it or whatever, or stop filming, at least I've got something to show. Whereas if I'm too selective and then it rains, I end up with a couple of dozen shots. That means that's a complete waste of time. I'd have to do it again. So there is a little bit of method in my madness, if you understand. But again, it's just I'm out in a really farming area. There's nothing else to see here but fields or the occasional animals. But I'm doing all right. I'm pressing on now. I've had my break. Well, I made it, but only just. What kept me going was the thought of having fish and chips. And this looks fabulous. I don't care what it tastes like, it looks fabulous. It's not as good as the one that Peter and I had when we were in Aldeburgh in Suffolk though. That took some beating. I think that's the best I've ever had. But this does look nice, and I'm really ready for it. It's 7:31 now, and I'm just making my way back to the van, having caught the 18:07 train back to Boston, and I brought the van back, and I've had a look around and some fish and chips, and I've just come out on a mission because I was going to have a nice cup of tea when I got back to the van, to find that my milk is, like more or less every day, the sun has turned it into cheese, and I can't find a shop that's open at this time on a Sunday night, so I'm going to have to put up with it. Another disappointment was I thought, oh, I just really fancy a pint right next to the railway station, where I've just come from actually, because I was told that there was a shop that sold milk. They only sell pints of milk, they don't sell the little ones. A pint of milk is a complete and utter waste of time for me. And when I went into Wetherspoons to order a really nice pint of Stella to sit outside in the sun, sorry mate, the Stella's off. So, okay, only small things, but they all add up. It's been an absolute grueler today, I've got to be honest with you. You can hear a slight wind now. Well, I've been walking into that most of the day. I am absolutely knackered. I'll be all right for tomorrow, I think. I've made up my lost time. I'm well in front now, depending on what the weather does with the rain for the rest of the week. I haven't looked at tomorrow's forecast yet because I haven't looked at my computer at all. But hopefully, if it's something like today, I'll be happy. And Mablethorpe isn't a million miles away. I can see I might get further than that. The further I can get, the better, without putting ridiculous pressure on myself. But it's when it rains it pours, if you understand what I mean. But no, I'm doing fine. It has turned a bit cooler here now. I mean, I caught the tail end of what must have been a very busy day for all of these shopkeepers and bar staff and everything. The place must have been pretty crowded. Certainly looking at the street, it's absolutely covered in litter. And we haven't had a very good summer for all these traders, but we're getting close to school holidays now. Things will change then. But anyway, it's been a good day, and I'm looking forward to my bed. I've got some beer in the van as always, so it's not like the desperate situation that I'm in. And thanks for watching. I don't know how this edit's going to come out because I haven't done that much film work today. Not as much as normal, because I just want this to be a half-hour episode, and I think I've got enough to do that. And if I'm to be honest with you, I really didn't feel like doing much either. It's just been a real slog, big walk. And when I was doing a little bit of shopping this morning in Boston, and I got some milk this morning in Boston, but you can't drink it now. I bought some new insoles for my shoes, and I feel as if I've got carpet slippers on, which is nice. But no, it's been great. See you tomorrow. Bye now. Bye.